Phil Perry's here.
Bit more.
Phil Perry's here. You can find him on all the apps. He is here. He works for NBC Sports Boston.
Yes.
He covers the Patriots.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm going to ask you what I've been asking everyone because I want to hear you say it, and then it will continue to confirm my feelings. 6.5-point favorite. It's down to 6. So let's just say it's 6.5-point favorite. The Jets are a 6.5-point favorite. Home opener tonight. Short week. That seems high. Everyone says it's high. What are your feelings on that?
It's too high.
All right. I've gone Jets, and now it's unanimous. Everyone has said that. Vegas knows something. We're all falling into a trap.
What do they know?
The line on the Jets-Patriots
What they always
game.
know.
What did they know that we don't know?
The line on the Jets-Patriots game is your new I'm going to Hofstra. You can't get it out of your head. It's stuck in there on a loop. And you have to say it out loud to every person you meet.
But at least it's about something that's happening tonight involving the Patriots. It's not just something in my own
Yes.
life.
Okay. That'll
us there. That's
That'll
true.
grant you. But thank you for saying Vegas doesn't know anything. Vegas knows how to make money generally by getting 50-50 action, or as maybe is the case with this game, getting it so one-sided on a side they don't believe in.
That half point, though, Hardy, means that they believe that the Jets most likely could win, will win at least by a touchdown. That half point means a lot. That it was at 6.5. I mean, they are predicting scores. I know what you're saying. I know they're trying to make it so it's balanced betting, but in the meantime, they are trying to predict the outcome of the game.
Oh yeah, because they know. Sorry, Phil, didn't mean to hijack this, but they know that the betting public, they're not completely ignorant. If you're going to have a Chiefs-Panthers matchup, okay, we have to have this as somewhat of a big spread here because the public knows something. But what Vegas mostly knows is how to get that handle balanced out and have their books balanced.
Yeah, and I think if you're Vegas and you're still relatively early in the season here, what does most of the betting public feel about the Patriots? That they're not a very good football team.
Yes.
That they can't score, that they're going to try to win on defense and with a run game, and what does that do for anybody in 2024? And what do they feel about the Jets? Even after losing the opener, well, they've got Aaron Rodgers, and they've got Garrett Wilson, and they've got Breece Hall, and they've got a defense that's loaded with good. This is a team that should be contending for a Super Bowl against a team that should be contending for the first overall pick. I think that's what gives you the 6.5 or the 6 now points that the Jets are favored by.
Out of all the people betting, what percentage of them are really informed, smart football people? 20%, 15%. Most people are just people betting are just like know what you just said about the teams, and that's about it.
So they're going for the square bettors, like Fred.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, not Fred.
No, the
Oh,
square.
I thought he's taking the
No,
the
he's
Jets here.
very, very sharp.
No, I bet you all the sharp money's on the Jets.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if every single person is picking the Patriots, wouldn't that mean? I don't know. Somewhere Lifshitz is breaking windows. He doesn't like it.
If most of the money is coming in on the Patriots,
Is it?
Yes, that would almost automatically make the Jets bet the sharp play.
Yeah, because the line went down, so
I
is.
see.
So the
All
Jets
right.
is the sharp play. I would imagine if I'm insulting you, Joe or Dan, I really I feel like we've treaded into
They'll be okay.
like
Choppy waters, yeah.
like into the Middle East politics stuff. I think that we've treaded into something.
Careful.
And now I'm just talking ignorantly.
Doesn't this feel like it's going to be an ugly,
Yes.
defensively driven Thursday night game
Okay,
where it's not going to be a ton of points? and it will be
Thursday's always
closer
ugly,
than,
though.
All right, all
than
right,
6
all
points.
right, all right. Let me say my piece and then I'll stop. Is that these are the two teams I've seen both of their games entirely, but it's been a lot of work for me watching 4 football games. Here's what could happen. The Jets have gotten killed time of possession. The run defense sucks, correct? Okay, great. All right, so that's one way, is that the Patriots could just run it down their throat and the Jets can't do anything about it. They dominate the ball. The Jets go 3 and out a couple times. That's what happened to the Titans, and they don't pull a Will Levis and throw the ball behind them in the red zone. That's one way if it goes on. But another thing that could happen is that the Jets get the ball. Rodgers is able to throw downfield. Hackett actually calls an offense that moves the ball, and because they have had good drives, they have this year achieved good drives. They won against San Francisco, but they had a few against the Titans. They score a touch. They get 7 right away. Now the game's completely different.
Yep.
Because that would concern me as a Patriots fan or someone betting on the Patriots is that if the Jets score an early touchdown, the game completely shifts. And once Rodgers gets going a little bit, like he kind of gets going, and that would concern me. And then they're forced to throw, and I don't think they're going to be able to throw against the Jets.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Like if they are put in a position where they are behind the Patriots and they are forced to throw, it's going to be a disaster. The Jets are number 1 in the league in pressure rate so far this season. The Patriots are 31st in pressure rate allowed. Like if they have to throw the football, Jacoby Brissett's going to be on his back quite a bit. And it could be the start of the Drake May era sooner than any of us thought.
In the middle of all of this, though, is it a good thing that Caden Wallace is playing left tackle? You didn't really draft him to be a right tackle. You drafted him to see if he could flip to left tackle. Now, it's an attrition thing where he's playing there, but in a season like this, which is transitional, is it better that you see what you have early rather than later?
Sure, you throw him into the fire a little bit and see what you have. The reason it's not good is because you are trying to compete and you're trying to win as many games as you can. And having Caden Wallace at left tackle is not conducive to winning football games.
Push back on that
now.
a little bit. You're not competing for much this year.
Well, you'd like to see them beat the
should,
Jets
though.
on Thursday Night Football. What Phil's saying is you would like to see the Patriots beat the Jets on Thursday Night Football.
Well, no, I think it's important for them to experience some success
Yes.
this year. Of course, you're going to be playing. You're going to get the developmental thing is going to happen organically because these guys are going to play. Layden Robinson's already playing. Caden Wallace is going to play. Drake May eventually is going to play. So that sort of thing is going to happen naturally. In the meantime, you should be doing all you can to win as many games as you can, to try to generate whatever buy-in, whatever belief, whatever positive experience that you can for people like Gerard Mayo, Alex Van Pelt, people that are brand new in their jobs. And so I think it's critical that you do whatever you can. It can't just be a season-long tryout for next year, right? To me, you do have to try to do things that are conducive to winning football games. Playing Caden Wallace at left tackle, I'm not sure is one of those things.
Okay, I'll ask you a
It
question.
does help that the Jets are pretty banged up. It sounds like, between Jermaine Johnson and C.J. Mosley, like their front seven is banged up. And so I
Mosley
think they
doesn't have turf toe, I guess, so they're saying they could shoot him up legally and that he could play. And Samini thinks he's going to play. I don't know what that means, but
Okay.
DJ Reed's healthy. They're actually not banged up. Johnson,
Jermaine Johnson just tore his Achilles.
Yeah, and he's their best pass rusher, but
Out for the season.
but he's out for the season. But he's really their only injury. If Mosley plays, he's their only injury. And by the way, the Jets' defense was better without Mosley out there against the Titans for whatever that means. I mean, Mosley old.
Jets very healthy.
Mosley, and he ain't the star back there, baby. Quincy Williams is the star back there. You'll see him.
He's a good
tonight.
player.
Oh, he's very good.
But Mosley, do you give Mosley any sort of credit for being sort of the traffic cop? Which
That's
is
above my pay grade. So, yeah, probably.
No, I totally
I don't know.
understand you saying that.
Like, you're around the team and the Patriots, and you're
Juwan
aware.
Bentley, I think, is sort
Sure.
of the mirror image of C.J. Mosley for
Sure.
the Patriots. And I think it will hurt their run defense tonight to not have Juwan Bentley out there because he is that organizational, play-to-play sort of traffic cop person.
All right, so I'll ask you this: like, the Jets know the Patriots aren't going to throw, and they load up against the run. The Patriots can still run against that.
So they've actually done pretty well running against loaded boxes. They've done a good job. I think Alex Van Pelt has done a pretty good job of being able to figure out, hey, can we block this in such a way where the unblocked defender, there's going to be one, right? You're playing, generally speaking, especially with a quarterback like Jacoby Brissett, who's not a runner, you're playing 10 on 11 offensively, right? Once the quarterback hands it off, he's a non-factor. So there's going to be a defender who's unaccounted for. And with teams that are so geared toward stopping the Patriots' running game because they know they're not a threat to throw, you have all these guys at or around the line of scrimmage. What I think the Patriots have done an okay job with is making that unblocked defender a smaller person. So it's typically been a corner or a safety. And they've just said, go ahead. We'll allow you to be free, and we'll trust Ramondre Stevenson, who's 235 pounds, to be able to run through your 185-pound corner's tackle. And that's gone okay for them. I mean, they've had big rushing numbers each of the last 2 weeks. And Antonio Gibson was a big factor last week, and so maybe he'll do the same thing again tonight on a short week. But you are going to have to throw it eventually. That's the problem with the Patriots right now, is that they can't protect and they don't have guys that get open.
So you wrote about this mixing it up at receiver. I would say, how about just throw to a receiver? We can start there.
To start. Mm-hmm.
But when we were talking earlier, and Dave Richard was on, he was like, "Yeah, Hunter Henry might be a good option," because he had. I said, if you're looking, to stop the pass from the Patriots, which I don't know that they'll try tonight or anywhere in the near future. So far, it seems like Hunter Henry has been the guy. 2 targets total, I think, for Pop Douglas. Polk had the touchdown, but that's about it. You're going to have to get away from Hunter Henry. You're going to have to try some other things. When do they start trying it? Maybe not tonight. And when they do start, what do they try?
Well, for me, this game is a good test for Alex Van Pelt because they need to start using some smoke and mirrors, or at least pulling the levers that are available to offenses that, generally speaking, generate easy offense. They are near the bottom of the league in terms of motion used at the snap.
Yeah.
This is the cheat code that everybody uses these days. The
Okay.
Patriots use it less than pretty much everyone. They are less than 10% when it comes to motion at the snap through 2 games. That would be less than half of the league average last year. So the league average was 22% last year. Now the Patriots are at less than 10. So they have to do more of that. They actually have done it, and when they have, they've generated some pretty nice gains. And
Okay, so the
continue to use it, continue to tap into that screen game, Hardy.
Yep.
They're near the bottom of the league with screens.
So
they need to use more of that to sort of hide what they have on the offensive line, maybe generate some explosive
But
plays.
Let's
just real
take a
quick-
break.
So Phil was talking about the
Phil Perry from
yeah.
NBC Sports Boston.
Phil was talking about the Patriots using motion at the snap 11% of the time, half of the league average from last year. And what I was going to ask Phil is, I think motion at the snap is a tool primarily used by teams so that the quarterback can dissect what the defense is doing and use that to his advantage. Are the Patriots not doing it that much because it would essentially be lost on Jacoby Brissett? Because what's he going to do with it?
So they have used motion. It's this motion at the snap that they seem to be more reluctant to use than most. So a lot of times, if you're using, it's called regular motion, right?
Or pre-snap.
That pre-snap motion, sure,
Yeah.
but it's not right at the snap.
Okay.
Right? You can move a receiver from point A to point B and be able to diagnose how the defense is reacting. A lot of times, teams will do that. The Patriots with Josh McDaniels did this all the time to indicate man versus zone. Well, if somebody goes with that receiver, then they're in man. We can still stay settled. We've got enough time to get the snap off.
Sure.
Everybody take a deep breath. Let's adjust our routes, however the defense is playing this, based on the fact that we all just saw it was either zone or man. So they are still doing that. They do still use motion. I think I think in week 1, I haven't counted it up yet for week 2, but I think in week 1 they used motion on almost half of their snaps. But it's this fast motion at the snap that isn't so much an information gathering tool. It's more a leverage acquiring tool.
Is that
meaning
like Miami does that? That
yes.
kind of stuff Miami
Yes.
does?
So
Okay.
you're trying to get a receiver with a proper angle or with a head of steam that
it's
can
not
take
gonna-
advantage of whatever the
It's not going to
defense is doing.
change what you're doing. It's just going to make what you're planning on doing easier.
Yes.
Okay.
And more difficult for the defense to track
Well, then
and to
they
defend.
should be doing that then.
They should be. They should be using they should be doing things like using more play action on early down. Everybody knows, right? People talk about week to week. Well, first they have to establish the run, and then they should use the play action off that. The Patriots have already established through 2 weeks they can run the ball. They can run the ball. They should on the first down of the game today. I think it would be a great idea to use play action on the first play of the game and assume that the Jets are going to be so incredibly focused on stopping your run game that you all of a sudden you pull it out of Ramondre Stevenson's gut and you try to take a shot down the field to generate an explosive play. They have to use more deception, and that to me is why this is a big game for Alex Van Pelt. It's a short week. You're the guy who's running the controls right now. You're not going to be able to beat the Jets straight up offensively with your pass game, like man for man based on talent alone. He has to use his brain to be able to generate some different advantages for them, and that might be their chance of scoring more points.
Was Jacoby Brissett indicating or implying that that Seattle knew what they were doing before they were doing it? He was talking about how they were in 2-man every time, or they 2 men deep, or whatever every time that they were doing something. What was describe what Jacoby was talking about.
Yeah, so he mentioned right after the game on Sunday that essentially the Patriots were tipping their pitches. That every time they wanted to throw deep, the Seahawks just so happened to be in a too high safety structure, which a lot of quarterbacks, and Brady used to talk pretty openly about this, when they saw too high, they didn't want to throw, period. You can try to take advantage of the middle of the field, right? Because the safeties are usually splitting the field in half, and if you can split the difference between those guys, maybe there's some explosive plays there. Rob Gronkowski down the seam, for instance. But a lot of quarterbacks will say, no thanks, too high means we have an advantage near the line of scrimmage. There typically would be a safety in the box to defend against the run. That guy's now deep. Well, let's hand it off. We've got an advantage. So it sounds like, again, this is I think reflective upon Alex Van Pelt. If the opposing defense only 1 week into the season already understands or has a decent understanding to be able to take an educated guess as to when you're trying to throw the football deep, that's a bad sign.
Pretty simple, the offense is, if that happens. And is that a factor of just young guys not knowing where to line up? Or is that a factor of the offense that hasn't hit its stride yet?
To me, it's about tendencies, and the Seahawks already felt like they had a beat on what the Patriots want to do. Hey, they're only going to throw it down the field in X, Y, and Z
One
instances.
week of film, you shouldn't be able to do that.
You should not. And so, listen, I think part of it is they're also – the Patriots understand they don't have a lot of down-the-field winners. And so the instances in which they're going to feel comfortable throwing the ball down the field are going to be few and far between. To me, one of the things you should look at doing, and Hardy referenced this a little bit earlier, always appreciate Hardy actually reading the stories that are on the website, NBCSportsBoston.com.
Thank you.
They should be open to changing up their personnel at receiver. Tyquan Thornton and KJ Osborne have given them next to nothing through 2 weeks. I know I've had people in the organization tell me that these guys are practicing well, Kayshon Boutte and Javon Baker. And both guys have had their share of issues off the field for sure, but both still have a lot of belief in the organization and at One Patriot Place in terms of their pure ability as receivers. And so maybe it's not this week because it's early enough, but again, getting back to that idea of, hey, these guys are going to get developed one way or the other. At this point, I think you know what KJ Osborne is. I think you know what Tyquan Thornton is. I would go Baker for Thornton, and I would go Boutte for Osborne, and just see what happens. It can't get any worse. The pass game has been so bad through 2 weeks. It can't get worse. I would be thinking really strongly about putting those younger guys out there.
You also mentioned maybe them thinking about doing some personnel changes on special teams after the blocked field goal. You wrote about that. Has there been any work on that front?
Do you guys do a lot of field goal protection talk on this show?
That's what makes us different, Phil.
Man.
That's what we do.
That's for his Sunday golf
I
show.
thought if it was important enough for you to write about, it was important enough for me to
Hardy's
ask about.
trying to help
No,
you.
I'm
He's setting
saying.
you up.
Listen, I just a warm fuzzy feeling just overtook my body here.
For this team,
Goosebumps.
yeah, you got to talk about special
Every
teams.
field goal counts.
You got to talk about field
Every
goal
point counts for this
protection
team.
and
Hey,
coverage.
it's why
and
they
everything
lost.
else.
Yes.
To me, it's why they lost the other day.
If you're going
And I know the
10-7,
sack.
you got to make a field goal.
The sack prior to that immediately preceded that field goal attempt got a lot of attention. To me, it's still a 48. It's the difference between a 39 and a 48-yard field goal. You should still be able to make the 48-yard field. I actually thought it wasn't a terrible play by Jacoby Brissett. And maybe I'm just scarred by the last 2 years of Patriots football. But when he just hugged that football to his chest and took the sack, I said, probably a smart play not to throw it into traffic and end up with some sort of pick six or something that is definitely going to lose you the game.
Yeah.
At least now you have the opportunity to kick a 48-yard field goal and maybe do something with it. They should get Austin Hooper out of there. Austin Hooper was the guy on the wing. You're supposed to be able to occasionally hug two different. This is really good for radio.
No,
what
but
I'm doing
you
right
need
now.
the
I've got
wings- you need the
both of my
wingspan.
arms outstretched like this. You're supposed to be able to just take on two rushers at the same time. Get them in their chest with your long arms. And they've used guys like Lawrence Guy at that position before, Dietrich Wise, Rob Gronkowski. Austin Hooper is a large man compared to me and you. He's not compared to those other. You need as much length and strength as you can get out on the wing out there. I'm not sure that's Austin Hooper's role. So get Dietrich Wise back out there. He's not on field goal protection unit, or he wasn't last week. I think he should be this week. They
Then
should
again,
get
Rob
Hooper out of there.
Gronkowski broke his arm messing around
He
out
did.
there.
Yeah, he did.
That was a point after try,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
It was. Yeah. Or field goal. I can't remember which now.
Yeah,
but
it was one of them.
Either
I think it was Sergio Brown who got him on that one, broke his arm. Then he later was the guy who threw him. He threw Sergio Brown out the club in Indianapolis. Remember that?
Do you remember Sergio Valente jeans?
See, just when I thought he wasn't going to contribute,
I'm happy he was,
he
kinda in
he
there, yeah.
pops in with a gem.
Look at that.
I don't remember those.
Boom.
Well done.
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Sergio Valente jeans. You caught my eye.
Were those pretty standard looking? Were those like wide-legged?
Let him
no,
let him dangle.
no. I'm not dangling. I'm actually quite cold.
He wants the sounder.
He's not getting it.
All right.
Talking about my penis shrinking because of the cold.
Really? I didn't catch that.
I thought you must have not if you're not giving me the thing.
You put your head back, too. You were waiting for it with the smile.
Yeah, I mean, I had a funny line.
Yeah.
Say who's hosting
Hey
Saturday
there.
Night Live. Say who's hosting Saturday Night Live because I got a good joke for that one too.
Who's hosting Saturday Night Live this week? Not Nate Bargatze.
No, that's the second week.
All right, somebody look up quickly, John.
All
just so
right,
we can
all
do
right,
it.
all right
Just so we can do it.
already.
Who's hosting Saturday Night Live this week?
Yeah.
It's
Talk amongst yourselves.
No, don't. We're not going to make you set it up and have the zinger.
Gene Smart.
you know who's hosting week 2? Slack's dumbass. Kaboom.
That was worth it. I can only speak for myself.
No, it was good.
I wrote that.
Phil, no need. We're good.
That was good. Yeah, that was good.
That's the one thing he has in his show notes for today. Week 2 SNL host.
Yeah.
I remember everything. I don't need notes. All right.
That was
listen.
really good.
Thank you, John. Thank you. All right, Phil Perry, thank you for coming in,
No,
sir.
thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
If you like that clip, and how could you not? Check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. Point slightly up and to the left. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. Point slightly down and to the left. And for the latest from the Sports Hub, download at 985thesportshub.com.